Let's learn the watermelon ripple throw. To get started, you'll need 4-ply yarn, a 5.5mm crochet hook, scissors, and a measuring tape. Let's get started with this swatch. For this throw, I use what I call my 10x3 chevron pattern, which is a multiple of 24 plus 2. So in this swatch, I am going to chain a total of 48 plus 2, so it's 50. The chevron stitch is based on valleys and hills that are created across the chain, and I will show you how to do each step by step so you can create this swatch. Once we have our 50 on there, I work in the back bump of this project. So there's the back bump, this first back bump, which is the second stitch from the hook, and we will start by putting 2 single crochets in that stitch. So you've got 1 and 2. That is your end foundation throughout this entire pattern. Then we're going to put 10 single crochets in the next 10 stitches. Now to create the valley over the next 3 stitches, 3 single crochet decrease. We're going to insert the hook into the bump and pull up a loop. We're going to do that 2 more times. Insert the hook, pull up a loop. 1 more time. We will have 4 loops on the hook, and we will pull through all 4, and the decrease has been made. We will then, over the next 10 stitches, put a single crochet in the back loop of each stitch. Now we're going to create the hill, and that is done with a 3 single crochet increase. So in this one stitch, we are going to put 3 single crochets. There's 2 and 3, and then we will follow it up with 10 single crochets in the back bump of the next 10 stitches. Now we're going to make the valley again. Over the next 3 stitches, we're going to pull up a loop in each one of the back bumps. We will have 4 loops on our hook, and we will pull through all 4. We'll continue on with making 10 single crochets in the back bump of the next 10 stitches. Once we have the last 10, we should end up with 1 stitch left on our hook, or on our chain left, and we will put 2 single crochets in there. To finish up the row, followed by a chain 1 and a turn. On to the next row. You should be able to see that you have 2 valleys and 1 hill. Now we're going to start our row 2. In this row and throughout each, the very first stitch are 2 single crochet increase in the very first stitch through both the front and back loop, followed by 10 single crochets in the back loop of the next 10 stitches. Now we're going to make our decrease again. In the back loops only, we're going to pull up 3 loops on our hook. There's 2 and 3, and we're going to pull through all 4, create our decrease. Now in the back loops, we will single crochet 10 more in the back loops of the next 10 stitches. We've got our 3 single crochet increase in our hill there, and that will be followed up with 10 single crochets in the next stitches. I realized as I was doing this that I missed the very first single crochet, and so my pattern would have ended up a little bit off. It's very important on your hill that you make sure you're grabbing that very first stitch. It can get buried in that hump. So as you can see, I'm noticing that I only have 9 stitches going across and I need 10. So I had to go back and figure out where I missed a stitch. Yes, I missed stitches too. It happens. So we'll put that 3rd one back in, and you can see where I missed that very first stitch. So you go along and you put 10 stitches going along until you get to your next valley. Once we get our 10 single crochet back loop only, it's time to decrease. So we are going to pull up 1 loop over the next 3 stitches. We'll have 4 loops on the hook and we'll pull through all 4, and then we'll proceed to put 10 single crochets over the next 10 stitches, back loop only. You should end up with 1 stitch left. There's the last back one, and then you'll have 1 stitch left, and through that V, both of those stitches, you are going to put 2 single crochets, followed by a chain 1, and you're going to turn your work, and we'll start row 3. The valleys and hills are starting to get a little bit more prominent now, so you can kind of see where it's going. So this whole entire pattern is basically a repeat of the second row that we just did. So we're going to start through both front and back loop. We're going to put 2 single crochets, and then we are going to put 10 back loop single crochets along the next 10 stitches. Now it's time to make the valley again. So over the next 3 stitches in the back loop only, we're going to do our 3 single crochet decrease by pulling up 3 loops, 1 in each, and then pulling them all together to create the decrease. We'll follow that with 10 single crochet back loops in the next 10 stitches. It's time to make the hill. In that top stitch, we are going to put 3 single crochets. It's a 3 single crochet increase, back loop only. Now making sure that we grab that first one, we're going to put 10 single crochets in the next 10 stitches, back loop only. We're going to work downhill to the valley. Let's create our next valley. Over the course of the next 3 stitches, we're going to insert our hook and pull up a loop 3 times. We will have 4 and pull through on to 10 more back loop only single crochets. Last one stitch left through both loops. We're going to put 2 single crochets in that same stitch to finish off this row, followed by a chain 1 and then a turn. Now you can see your valleys and your hills. You can see that it becomes more and more prominent. I hope this tutorial was helpful. Real quick, you need to count your rows. Follow the holes. 1, 2, 3. We've done 3 rows. If you enjoyed this tutorial, I hope that you'll like, share, and comment. Keep visiting me for more tutorials and crochet patterns that are all coming soon. Have a great day and happy crocheting.